It's like the more you read, the more confused you get. So today we're going to talk about the pros and cons of the keto diet. In a nutshell, you are training your body to use fat as the primary source of energy when you're on a keto diet. By default, our bodies use carbs as the primary source of energy because it's a more efficient source of fuel for the body. But if you don't give your body carbs for a really long time, it starts using fat as the primary source, and this transition is called ketosis, which is you're putting your body into a state where it's looking for fat as the primary source of energy. So in this video, we're going to give you the objective pros and cons of the keto diet around 4 main points. Number 1, weight loss benefits. How effective is the keto diet for weight loss, and are there any dangers to it? Number 2, exercise performance. Can the keto diet be helpful towards your exercise goals, and in which areas is it actually an impediment? Number 3, mental performance. Does the keto diet actually clear up your mind, and what is the keto flu? Number 4, compliance. Who are the people who are a good fit for the keto diet, and conversely, who are the people for whom the keto diet is not going to work for the long term? So let's get to it.
So first, let's talk about the pros of weight loss benefits on keto. Number 1, you can lose a lot of weight on the keto diet if aesthetics purposes is what you're mainly worried about. So if you don't care if your weight is coming from water or carbs, then keto is a great way to go. Why is this? Well, 1 gram of carb holds on to about 3 grams of water. So that means when you cut carbs, you're going to be losing a lot of water from that as well. That is why most people who go on the keto diet or a very low carb diet lose a ton of weight in the first 1 week or so. Unfortunately, what that also means is that when you go off the keto diet, you will regain all of that lost water weight back. This is okay if all you want is a short-term weight loss solution. The second advantage of being on the keto diet for weight loss purposes is true for you if you are the kind of person that eats a lot of carbs already. So if most of your calories are coming from carbs already, then going on a keto or actually any low-carb diet in general will help you with weight loss because you're going to be reducing the calories from the places that you eat most of. Now, the third advantage of using keto for weight loss purposes is that eating high-fat foods can help you feel more satiated. So it's a good way to get you to eat less calories because you're going to feel more satiated on the foods that you eat. So you might not have those cravings to eat more and more food throughout the day if your food has higher fat. And the fourth advantage of going on the keto diet applies to people who have had a long history of eating a lot of carbs, especially processed carbs and simple sugars, the kind of stuff that'll really give you a lot of blood sugar spikes and crashes that can kind of mess up your insulin balance. Therefore, if you eat a keto diet, you're basically not eating carbs anymore, and what that can do is help stabilize your insulin levels over the long run. Now, this is more of a result of eating less carbs rather than eating high fat. Okay, now that we covered 4 advantages of being on the keto diet, let's talk about the disadvantages of going on the keto diet for the purpose of weight loss. The first point is that when you go on the keto diet, you have to be committed to it 100%. There is no room for keto. You're either in ketosis, the state in which your body is burning fat, or you are not in ketosis, in which case, the regular state in which your body prefers glycogen, which is the carb form of energy. What this means is that it's very easy to fall off the track. Like if you have a little extra fruit, for instance, in one of your meals, or you use a little bit more sauce on your burger than you normally do, that could kick you out of ketosis. And what that means is it's not the end of the world. You can get back into the ketosis state in about 24 to 48 hours. However, that will slow down your fat loss progress if you're doing keto for the purpose of weight loss. Now, the second downside to using keto for the purpose of weight loss is that fat has a lot of calories, more than any other macronutrient. 1 gram of carbohydrate or protein is 4 calories, whereas 1 gram of fat is 9 calories. So that is twice the amount. What this means is that even though fat is highly satiating, it is also very easy to overeat a lot of calories in fat because a very small amount of fat can be a lot of calories. If you are a mindless snacker, this is probably not the best diet for you for weight loss purposes. Also, if you are somebody who is already getting a lot of your calories from high-fat foods, then adding more fat is not going to help you make progress. Cutting carbs, if you're already not eating that much carbs, won't really help you lose that much fat. In the long run, you will still lose water after, by the way, you will still lose water weight. But I'm talking about from a fat loss perspective, it's not going to help you eat less calories if you are already eating most of your calories from fat.
Exercise performance. Let's first talk about the pros. Keto makes your body more efficient at burning fat, and fat is actually the primary source of energy when you're doing low-grade activities like jogging or walking. When you start jogging, your body is actually using carbs to fuel itself. But then at a certain point, if you run out of carbs, then it goes into this transition where it tries to use fat as its source. And it is during this transition that a lot of athletes call hitting the wall, which is suddenly you feel like you've ran out of energy and you're kind of at a dead end of sorts and you're not able to push through and continue going. But if you actually push through and continue going, your body will switch to using fats as its source, and then you get a second wind of sorts where you can continue doing your exercise. Now, if you're already in ketosis, that means your body is already efficient and used to burning fat as a source of energy, which means that you may not actually hit that wall that you do when you're using carbs as your primary source of energy. But note that research has not actually shown any improvement in your performance or calories burned when doing this. So the psychological benefit that you perceive does not actually translate to athletic performance or calories burned numbers going up in practice. Moving on to the cons. For long duration exercises like a marathon, for example, a keto diet does not seem to endow you with any special benefits. For intense cardio or strength training though, the research is consistent across the board. It shows that your performance is going to be suboptimal compared to someone who's actually eating carbs. If you're trying to build muscle, it is going to be a lot more inefficient for you if you're on a keto diet than if you're eating carbs. Yes, if you're a beginner, you will see progress even if you're on a keto diet. But once you get past that beginner stage, you will not be making progress as quickly as someone who's eating carbs. As of making this video, there is only one study that shows a small benefit if you combine ketones, which is the energy from fat, with carbs. Note, this is ketones with carbs, not ketones alone.
Alright, so the third part of keto that we're going to talk about is brain function. Let's start with the pros first. Pro number one, keto has been studied and research has shown repeatedly that it can help treat epilepsy in children. Pro number two, some recent studies have also shown some evidence that keto might help those with neurodegenerative diseases help with rehabilitation. For instance, Parkinson's and Alzheimer's. Pro number three, some new research has also shown that keto may help people who have suffered a traumatic brain injury, for instance, from concussions or car accidents. Now, because of these points above, a lot of people think that keto can help boost their brain power or prevent brain diseases. However, these studies only show that keto diet can help rehabilitate an already damaged brain or a brain that is already suffering from some neurological disease. What these studies don't consistently show is whether or not a ketogenic diet can help improve upon an already normally functioning brain. The research out there is still conflicting and inconclusive, so we might need to wait a few more years to get more conclusive findings on that. Okay, so now let's talk about the cons of keto diet for brain power. All right, number one, our brain needs about 100 grams of carbs a day in order to function optimally. Now, while it's possible to train your brain to be able to get its energy source from fat, it is not very optimal for your brain to burn fat. It will run a little bit slower and you might not be as focused. And this is why during the first 2 to 4 weeks while you're on the keto diet, you might experience what a lot of people call the keto flu. This is feelings of like insomnia, low energy, dizziness, and maybe nausea and irritability. It's basically your body and brain trying to adapt and shift yourself from using carbs as your main energy source to using fat. Research has shown that even after your body fully adapts to burning fat, there is no evidence to show that it can improve mental clarity or performance over the long run. Once again, the research on this topic is a little bit conflicting right now, and it still needs a couple of years in order for us to really understand the long-term implications of ketosis. Now, that said, what can improve mental clarity is if you've been chronically consuming highly processed carbs and simple sugars for a long time. If you suddenly switch to whole foods, whether that's through keto diet or paleo or whatever, you will experience that mental clarity because you are no longer consuming simple sugars, which do have evidence to show that it can cause brain fog and low energy as well. Now, because the keto diet is made up of really high-fat foods, most of that is meat, dairy, nuts, you will naturally get a lot of whole foods into your system and cut out most of the highly processed simple sugar type foods, which are, high carbs.
Number 4, let's talk about compliance. Remember that the best diet is the diet that you can stick to. So having said that, who finds it easy to stick to a keto diet? Number 1 are people who love high-fat foods. So if you're someone who loves bacon, eggs, cheese, and you don't get digestive issues from eating a lot of fat, then this may be a good diet for you. Number 2 are people for whom the all or nothing approach works really well. So instead of trying to moderate your foods in such a way that you're having everything but in moderation, you're not able to stick to that, but instead it's much easier for you to cut out whole food groups, just so then all of your calories by default kind of comes down to something which is under your maintenance calories. Then this is a good diet for you. And number 3, if you're not exercising strenuously. Who is the keto diet not good for? Number 1 are people who enjoy carb foods. So this include grains, cereals, fruit, vegetables, definitely all of the desserts and junk food that is out there. If you enjoy any of that and it's really hard for you to give that up, then a keto diet may not be the best diet for you. Number 2 is if you're someone who can't handle a lot of high-fat foods. For quite a few people, if you have high-fat foods in a large quantity, then it usually causes stomach cramps and digestive issues. Number 3 are people who are already getting most of their calories from fat. So if most of your calories are already coming from fat, increasing it a little more is not going to be that helpful. Number 4 is someone who finds the all or nothing mindset detrimental to their day-to-day thinking and emotional sanity. So a keto diet is actually very black and white. You're either in ketosis, which is you're burning fat as your primary source of fuel, or you're not. Right? So, but it's so easy to get out of ketosis. Like even if you add like an extra ketchup on your burger, it's very easily you may be kicked out of ketosis as a result of doing that. And if that really causes you a lot of anxiety and stress, then this may be a diet that is not a good fit for you. And lastly, if you're someone who is working out consistently and strenuously, then a keto diet may not be the best diet for you since you're not going to see as much progress as if you were eating enough carbs. So those were all of the 4 main points around the pros and cons for keto. I'd love to hear what was your biggest takeaway from the pros and cons of the keto diet. Leave that in the comments below. If you want more content like this, go and hit that subscribe button and also hit that bell icon so that you get a notification every time we upload a video. All right, until next time.